Too cold for this nonsense. Oh. Right, MOT for the Snail van. Here we go. Morning. How are you? Let's just get the Snail van out the way first. Oh, there's stuff all in the back still. I'm going to have to stop and move whatever's clonking about in the back. Something's clonking. Good Lincolnshire word, isn't it? I've just realised I've got loads of stock in the back. Right. Hello, you absolute legends. Welcome back to the channel. John here on a rather frosty morning here in Lincolnshire. I'm in my Royal Snail van because it's MOT day. Yeah, it's that time of year again. It comes around quick. We're on the way to Neil's and hopefully by the end of this video we'll have a clean bill of health for the Royal Snail. Let me give you a brief history about the van. It's a 2009 Fiat Doblo cargo. It's the 1.3 multi-jet diesel engine edition. And why is it called the Royal Snail? Well, it used to be a Royal Mail van. I bought it 4 years ago from a friend of mine, Darren, who had a dog cage in the back because his wife had a dog grooming business. And they just didn't use it anymore. So I bought it from them and I paid a whopping £250 for the van. It needed a lot of TLC, which is why Darren sold it to me at a bargain price. But I did the work. I spent about £500 on it, getting it back on the road, 2 new tyres, new brakes, springs, etc. And it's been my van ever since, and I've done about, I don't know, 25,000 miles in it in the past 4 years. It's just had some new glow plugs, and that video is on the channel now, which Dad and I were putting off for about 4 years, but thankfully it went okay. Anyway, it's MOT test day, and I don't really envisage there being any problems with it, but it is a blooming good thing to have, and actually it's a good van to drive. It drives really well, obviously being based on the Fiat Doblo car platform as well. In this video then we'll go see Neil, we'll have a quick look at the MOT test procedure, and hopefully by the end of it it's going to be a clean bill of health for the Snail. Starting to get busy with school traffic this morning, and I really wished I'd taken that stuff out the back to stop it from clonking around. And I tell you what's clonking around in the back. It's a light box for a laser level wheel alignment system. So I'm selling that as part of people's man cave stuff. So if you've got a man cave and you want a cool funky light box, let me know. Amazingly, the Royal Snail van gets quite a lot of attention. I can't think why. Not only on the internet, but when we're out and about, lots of people give us a wave, give us a smile, and that's the whole point of the Royal Snail van. As you know, I like to be a little bit different. I like to have something that's not the ordinary. So when I saw that this was an old Royal Mail van, was damaged from where the old Royal Mail stickers were, I racked my brains thinking, what on earth could I put on there to make it a little bit better? I was considering something to do with my love for proton cars. I was considering something to do with my job. I was considering being really boring and putting something like John Coupland Cars YouTube on there. And then Mrs. John Coupland one night said, well, you should call it the Royal Snail, or no, the Loyal Snail. And I thought, that's blooming brilliant. I should call it the Loyal Snail. But then obviously I went with Royal Snail because it's regal, isn't it? A Fiat Doblo van. I get lots of waves from the local posties. They know the car. In fact, we're going to come past one right now. I'm going to wave at her in my Royal Mail van. She's waved at me. See, they think that it's a Royal Mail van sometimes. And the amount of people that say, oh, I didn't realise you worked for the Royal Mail. And I'm like, read it again. It says Snail. Anyway, we're nearly at Neil's. It's an okay thing to drive. It's getting a little bit noisy. And actually, it's nearly outgrown its purpose now. I need a bigger van for some of the stuff that I'm doing. Maybe a Vauxhall Vivaro or a Renault Master or something like that. Or even the Fiat version of those cars or vans. But the good thing about this is because it is based off a car, it drives like one, really. Massively economic on diesel. I will genuinely get about 500 or 600 miles out of a tank, depending what we're doing. And I fill up at Costco because, well, it's cheap and good quality diesel. So it's quite cheap to run. The only thing that's a killer is the road tax on this. For a 1.3 diesel engine, it's actually quite nippy. It's certainly not sluggish or snailish. And one of the things I did consider when I bought the van was turning it into a sleeper van, putting something hilarious under the engine. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. However, I am still toying with the idea of doing something sleeperish, maybe a sleeper Proton, maybe a sleeper Micra. So comment down below what you'd like to see Dad and I do an engine replant in, because that could be quite good and fun content, I think. Could you imagine? A V6 in a Proton. Yes, please. So we're at the MOT test centre. I'm going to pull in, put it on the ramp. There'll be a brief, this is the MOT test, but I'm not going to film the whole test today because you've seen the MOT test on the Snail van. You've seen it before. You don't need to see it again. And I don't want to distract Neil too much. And then hopefully by the end, full bill of health. So, as you can see, I made it, and I'm on the ramp with the Royal Snail van. The first thing Neil does is give it a once-over, has a walk around the van, make sure that nothing is falling off, make sure that everything is okay, and nothing is going to immediately stop the MOT test, before sending it up on the ramp and checking out everything underneath, checking out all the suspension, the brakes, making sure there's no oil leaks, making sure all the ball joints are okay, and as you can see in the sunshine, well, she doesn't look too bad, and it gives me an opportunity to have a look underneath the van and just make sure that there's nothing major going on under there that I haven't seen. Once that's all done, Neil takes it out to a different part of the garage where he's going to test the brakes, he's going to test the handbrake, he's going to test the lights and the wipers, make sure the jets are clearing the screen okay. And this is my favourite bit. I call this the rolling road, but actually what it does is it checks the balance across the axles and the brakes and make sure that the handbrake is working okay. That's done by rollers in the floor and a little computer on the wall there, and a remote control as well. It drives remarkably well, Neil said, for a van, and he is a big fan of this one as well. Last thing, after we've checked all the brakes and the handbrakes, as you know, we put some new tyres on it this year and did some work on the tracking, is to make sure that the lights are all okay and hopefully give the Snail van a full bill of health. This is always the waiting bit. This is always the difficult bit, waiting for Neil to put his thumb up at the end and say, right, come on through to the office then and give me some money. Fingers crossed then for a pass on the Royal Snail. That is the MOT test complete. Like I said, I wasn't going to distract Neil too much this time round, but you've seen the garage. Hey, well, there we go. A full clean bill of health. That's why I'm smiling. We're leaving the MOT test centre. Neil has given it a good look over, and thankfully nothing wrong with the Royal Snail. I was confident, to be honest with you, for another good year of motoring. Well, there it is then. I'm leaving the MOT test centre. I'm leaving Neil with a smile on my face for another year's worth of motoring with the Royal Snail. I genuinely didn't expect there to be any problems, especially after Dad gave it a once-over the other day. What's next for the Royal Snail? Well, I'm going to clean the back out and I'm going to clean the exterior. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see that I gave the interior cockpit here a blooming good clean out, much to Mrs. John Coupland's happiness, because spiders do like to make themselves a little home in here. But, you know, I'm all about nature and I'm all about this being my van. It is a bit of a dinger, it is a bit of a banger, and I just use and abuse it for stuff that I need to do in my van. Can you take something to the tip? Stick it in the back. Somebody at the side of the road is giving something away. Stick it in the back. Facebook Marketplace find? Stick it in the back. You know, it's really come in handy, and I haven't had to rely on Dad and his Peugeot to pick some stuff up for me. One thing I will say is you can't get much weight in the back there without it starting to creak and knock and bang. It doesn't like it. So again, one of my reasons for wanting to upgrade the van. Don't forget, Dad and I are looking at bringing this to Rustival 3 along with potentially the Proton Impian. So if you do want to see it at Rustival, let me know in the comments down below. Would you like to see the Royal Snail? That would probably force my hand to give it a good old clean out. If you've enjoyed the video, thumbs up please if you haven't already done so. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel and are enjoying the content that Dad and I are putting out every week, by the way, please do consider subscribing. It is free to do and it helps support the channel. We're nearing the 13,000 mark now, which is my lucky number. So if we can get to 13,000 by Christmas, I'll be a happy bunny. And comment down below, what do you reckon? Do you enjoy the Royal Snail, or you think, John, you shouldn't be driving around in that because actually it's a bit silly? Let me know. Till next time, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Thanks for watching this latest video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, I've selected a couple more videos for you, especially on this page. You might enjoy those, and don't forget to subscribe to always keep up to date with the channel.